Today on Beyond 6 Seconds.
Some opportunities are out there that they're not even posted. It's just based on referrals, based on who you know. Yes, it's good to be ambitious and search for opportunities, but also on the other hand, you have to build your network and make sure people know what you're capable of and have people who can advocate for you.
Welcome to Beyond 6 Seconds, the podcast that goes beyond the 6-second first impression to share the extraordinary stories and achievements of everyday people. I'm your host, Carolyn Keel. On today's episode, I'm speaking with Miracle Olatunji. Miracle is a student, entrepreneur, and author of Purpose, How to Live and Lead with Impact. In high school, she founded OpportuniMe, an award-winning education organization which democratizes access to summer experiential learning opportunities that enable high school youth to develop life and leadership skills, cultivate their passions, become socially conscious, and build their networks. Miracle served as a member of the advisory board for the Diamond Challenge, one of the world's largest entrepreneurship programs for high school students. Miracle, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk with you today. Why don't we start out by talking about OpportuniMe and tell me what gave you the inspiration to start that?
So when I was in high school, I participated in this youth entrepreneurship competition. And you had mentioned it when you were introducing me. It's called the Diamond Challenge. And essentially what the Diamond Challenge is, it's a global entrepreneurship program for high school students. So regardless of wherever you live in the world, you're able to participate in this program to learn about how to start a business or how to start a social enterprise. And for me, that was kind of what exposed me to entrepreneurship in the first place. And after going through that program, not only did I meet a lot of amazing people who were so inspiring, I was also kind of encouraged to start thinking about, okay, what are the problems around me? Like, what are some solutions that need to exist in the world that don't exist already? And the idea for OpportuniMe specifically came during the summer of my junior year when I was searching for summer internships and different summer programs for high school students to participate in. I was having such a hard time. And I said to myself, I can't be the only one having this problem. And so I did a survey and I found that like thousands of other students around the country were also facing the same challenge. And so knowing that problem is what inspired me to start OpportuniMe to solve that problem.
Oh, wow. So once you had the survey data and all of the feedback saying that this was an issue, what were the first steps you took to try to solve this problem?
So the first thing that I did was I had heard of this incubator program that was starting in my community called Dual School. And essentially what they were doing is they were pairing entrepreneurial high school students with a mentor to kind of guide them through bringing their idea to life. So I connected with my mentor. And the first thing I did was I piloted a prototype for OpportuniMe. And that was a newsletter. And basically from that newsletter, people would subscribe and I would send out different opportunities that were at different companies and different colleges. And I would send that out every week and people would get access to those opportunities. So that was kind of like my first prototype. So that's the step that I took when I first had the idea or identified the problem.
Wow. So it was really sharing that information that was out there, but sort of scattered around in different places and bringing it directly to students.
Exactly.
And then from there, did you actually start working with some of the companies? Did you sort of expand it from sort of more of an informational push to building partnerships from there?
Yeah. So from there, I started building partnerships with like local organizations that were looking for high school students for whether it was an internship or whether it was just an educational program. And I would partner with them to kind of get the word out there about their programs. Because like you said earlier, like these opportunities are out there. It's just a question of like matching the opportunities with the students so that they're aware of them.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. You know, obviously there is the challenge of just one knowing, as a student, knowing where to look for these opportunities and where to find them. And then two, I mean, I just know from the job search in general, and I'm sure this extends now down to internships and summer opportunities, that is kind of about who you know or who knows you. So I'm kind of curious if you noticed that in addition to, just trying to get the word out and get information out. Were you able to help students or encourage them to build their networks and sort of find their way to opportunities that way too?
Yes, that's another key part of it. In addition to sharing out the opportunities, I would share different articles and resources about career development and building a network. And actually back in March, I was in San Diego for the ASU GSV Summit, which is an education conference that happens every year. And I was speaking on a panel about how, in addition to it's important to share these opportunities, but it's also important to help students to build their network because a lot of times even you might notice this in the job market that some opportunities are out there that they're not even posted. It's just based on referrals, based on who you know. And so that's another key aspect of it. Yes, it's good to be ambitious and search for opportunities, but also on the other hand, you have to build your network and make sure people know what you're capable of and have people who can advocate for you.
That's fantastic. So you started OpportuniMe when you were in high school. What year of high school were you in when you first started it?
I was in my junior year when I started OpportuniMe.
And is it still something that's continuing now that a couple of years have gone by?
Yes. So now I'm in college. My university actually has an incubator program that I'm currently working on OpportuniMe through. In addition to also, I'm applying to co-op opportunities myself right now. So it's been balance. It's been a balance of different things that I'm working on.
Wow. So through building OpportuniMe, you're still a student, now a college student, but of course you're an entrepreneur as well. And I'd imagine that there are probably, special challenges from someone who's going to school full time, plus trying to start and run and grow their own entrepreneurial venture. Tell me about the biggest challenge you faced in either when you first launched or when you're currently running OpportuniMe, and how do you address it or overcome it?
Yeah, I would say for me, the biggest challenge I faced was the transition from high school to college and managing my time. In college, you do have a lot more time, but I think another thing is in college, you do get more responsibilities. So you have to be able to manage that time really effectively. And one way that I do that is I use Google Calendar, and I pretty much just color code everything based on what it is that I'm doing. So all my classes, they're in red. Everything OpportunIMe related is orange. For my book, it's blue. So I have a system in place to help me organize and manage my time. And that kind of helps me overcome that challenge of feeling like, oh, I don't have enough time in my day.
Oh, that's great. It sounds like you're almost sort of time boxing the different tasks that you have. So you have your class time, you have dedicated time when you work on OpportunIMe, and then for other parts of your life as well.
Exactly.
All right, very good. Yeah, I'd love to know what kind of feedback you've received from, either the students that you've worked with or employers. And, if you've had any success stories that kind of stick in your mind that have come from that so far.
One that really sticks in my mind the most is from a student who she was initially not sure if engineering was what she wanted to pursue. And so she had gone through a program that I shared through OpportunIMe. And after that, she started exploring that career path more. So I think one thing that people really get out of it is oftentimes in life, we already have our set goals and plans for what we want to do. But I feel like sometimes it's kind of a bad thing because we kind of keep a narrow mind and we don't have an open mind to other opportunities. And so by being open to things that maybe you're not sure if you're interested in, you might just find something that you're passionate about. For me, that's also what happened with entrepreneurship. I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship before doing the Diamond Challenge. And I saw an ad for it and a friend had told me about it. And I said, okay, I'll check it out. And I ended up really loving it and finding it to be one of my passions. So one thing that OpportunIMe really helps people do is just think outside of what they already know and reach their potential through trying new things.
Yeah, that's exciting because, as you said, you really don't know if you're going to like something until you have the chance to try it out and really see what it's actually like. Yep. Oh, that's fantastic. After you graduate from college, do you think you'll want to become a full-time entrepreneur, or where do you see your path going right now?
So as of right now, I see myself starting off working with a company so as to learn more about sort of what are the problems that the company might be facing, whether it's they're trying to improve efficiency or they're trying to solve problems within the industry that they're in. So I think that would really help me in starting my next venture. I still see myself continuing to work on OpportunIMe, but also building out a team so that it's not just me running everything, but also learning while working in a corporation about different ways of running a business effectively.
That's great. A big part of leadership and just showing value to whoever you're working with is that ability to identify and solve problems and bringing together the right people and resources to do that. So yeah, that's fantastic. Wow. So you mentioned them a little bit just now in terms of trying to bring on more of a team in the future, but what are your other goals that you have for OpportunIMe?
I would say one of my big goals that I have for OpportunIMe is expanding my reach and being able to help more students. Because over the past few years, I feel like I've been able to help a lot of students within my own community, but I kind of want to branch out and help people in other states. Last year, I spoke at a conference at Harvard for young women in business.
Wow.
And the audience there, they were all high school girls. They came not just from the US, like different states. They also came from outside the US as well. And some of the girls that I was speaking to, they were saying they're having a really hard time. They really want to pursue business, but they're having a hard time finding experiences that'll help them see, okay, is this something that I really want to do? Or like, do I want to do something else? It's just, they don't have those opportunities to get exposure to things that they think they're interested in. So I really hope to be able to expand OpportuniMe outside of just like my own community.
That's great. Oh, and I guess I should ask, so where, if someone wants to, whether they're a student or an employer, and they want to participate in OpportuniMe, where's the geographic location where they should be located at this point?
So for the most part, Delaware and Philadelphia, but also a lot of the programs that I share are national programs. So you can be based anywhere. So that's currently what it is right now. But in the future, I hope to have more national partnerships.
Yeah, it's such a great resource. I talk to a lot of professionals and I hear over and over again just that it's such a challenge to find the right opportunities to help, whether it's starting your career and you're just starting out, or change your career, or just continue to build and develop it. So I think the type of work that you're doing is really going to be helpful to a lot of people. That is really, really awesome.
That's my goal.
That's fantastic. Yeah, really having that impact. That's fantastic. Wow. So you're also an author, as we mentioned in your bio, and you wrote your first book recently called Purpose: How to Live and Lead with Impact. What inspired you to write a book about that topic?
So for me, as a young person, I feel like all throughout my life, I've always thought about what I want to do when I grow up. I feel like that question is just another variation of like the thought of, okay, what is my purpose? What do I want to spend most of my time doing? I feel like a lot of people, regardless of their age or their background, we all have that same sort of thought about our lives. Like, why am I here? What should I be doing? What are my skills? And so I decided to write this book as a guide to sort of help people navigate what they care about in the world and like their contributions that they can make in the world. And that's kind of what led me to write the book. And so far, it's received a lot of positive feedback, and a lot of people have been telling me how much it has inspired them. They love how it's so practical. And I include not just my own stories, but also stories from other people who are leaders in business and tech and all these other different industries. So I just feel like it can help anyone at any stage of their life.
How did you find the other people to contribute to the content of the book?
Yeah, so I just made a list of people that really inspire me. And I just cold emailed a lot of them. And then there were a few people who on LinkedIn I had a secondary connection to. So there was someone who could introduce me to them. So that's kind of how I got in contact with the people who I interviewed and featured their stories in my book.
Wow, that's awesome. And are most of the stories around how they discovered their purpose or how they live their purpose, or what kind of topic?
Basically, yes, like how they live and lead with purpose.
Oh, wow.
So like the living aspect is more of their personal life, and then the leading is in their profession.
Wow. And when did the book come out?
The book came out in June. So end of June is when it came out.
Oh, wow. So yeah, really recent. Oh, that's fantastic.
Super recent. I was actually in Denmark on the day it was released.
Oh.
And so I was kind of just like celebrating there with my friends who were over there with me as well. But now that I'm back in the States, I've been doing a lot of different talks and have a couple of events coming up around the book and the topics that are discussed.
And what kind of feedback have you gotten on the book so far from your readers?
So a lot of people have been telling me how much it has inspired them, and they really like how I broke it up. And so essentially the way the book is formatted is there's 7 chapters, and each chapter talks about what I call the purpose framework. So for example, the P, it stands for personal experiences. So that chapter encourages readers to sort of reflect and be self-aware and think about the experiences in their lives that have brought them to where they are today. Because I truly believe that we all have a story, and the way that we behave and the passions that we have now are influenced based on past experiences we might have had in our lives. And every experience in our life, whether positive or negative, has the power to teach us something and shape who we are. And so I really highlight that aspect in that part of the book. And then the rest of the chapters like follow that purpose framework. So like U is unique gifts and talents. And so it goes all the way to E, which is entrepreneurial mindset. So each chapter has a focus.
So there's this whole framework around how to think about purpose and what that really looks like in action. Oh, that's great. Yep. You mentioned as you were talking about the book that you do a lot of speaking engagements with young people and related to the topics of purpose and entrepreneurship. I know you also have an event series that you host for female students and young professionals.
Yeah, it's called Women Empowered to Financially Thrive. And it really inspires me to be able to put on an event like this to help so many people. And the way that I started this event was inspired by my own experience in junior year, where I went to an event with my mom that was very similar. And the whole focus was talking about how we can increase resources and information for women to learn more about building their net worth. And so I decided to sort of expand that idea and say, okay, how can we create resources and opportunities for women to not only build their net worth, but also build their self-worth in a network? And so I decided to start this event where we bring in speakers to talk about those different topics. And we created this worksheet where it has a bunch of resources where women can go and find out more information on how to apply the knowledge. It's definitely one of my favorite events to put on during the semester. This is my second time hosting it. We're hosting it again this year, November. I'm really excited for it.
And where does it typically take place?
So it typically takes place at my university, Northeastern.
And is it mainly for Northeastern students, or is it really just open to the public?
In the future, I would like to have it more open to the public. But for now, the majority of the attendees are Northeastern students, although we do invite a few people from the community, young professionals and experienced professionals to the event as well.
That's great. Yeah, it sounds like you offer a lot of really great tools and presenters there. And I imagine it must be also a great opportunity for the students to network and meet other people if you're sort of inviting other young professionals in as well.
Yep, exactly. And that's something that I'm really excited for this year or this semester's event, where we're doing it in such a way that there'll be a dedicated portion of the event for networking. So we're going to be ordering food from a woman-owned restaurant, and people will be able to eat and just like socialize and get to know one another. And so like that's something that I'm really excited about, because they really get to put what they're learning right into practice and build their networks.
That's great. Certainly when I was a student, I had no real concept of what it meant to build a network or just how important that would be to my future. And, I think it's great that you're including that as part of helping people build their own futures and careers, because it is, I feel like it's probably even getting more and more important as time goes on to really have those connections and know different people and have them know what you're capable of and what you're interested in doing.
That's so true. And like just the other day, I was having a conversation with someone, and they were telling me that they have what is called a personal board of advisors. So how a company will have its own like board. She was telling me how she has her own personal board of like her mentor, her sponsor. She has her mom, like just her friends, anyone who supports her in her life. She calls them, that's her personal board of advisors. So like you were saying, like everyone, we all need somebody. We all need a network to thrive and also just like become a better version of ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. The personal board of advisors concept got me thinking, do you have any advice for students, whether it's related to networking or if students are really looking to find their first mentor? Because I think a lot of times people know it's important to find a mentor, but they don't really have any idea how to go about doing that. So do you have any thoughts or advice that you could share on that topic?
Yeah. So I would say in finding a mentor, you should write down, I think like 3 to 5 things that you would like to improve on, whether it's like learning a new skill or developing a certain character trait or like an accomplishment that you want to have in the next few years, and try to find people who you can look up to who have either accomplished that or are really good at, say, I don't know, if you want to improve your public speaking skills, find someone who's really good at that, and just don't be afraid to reach out and ask people for help, because it can be really daunting. You might feel like you're being annoying, but you're really not. People, for the most part, really do want to help. And so I think it's just really important to not be afraid to reach out and ask for help.
Yeah, absolutely. And also putting that thought into what your goals are and what you really want, what kind of help you're looking for. I think as specific as you can be, because as you said, people want to help. And I think as specific as you can be coming in with whatever your ask might be, it helps send people in that direction so they know how they can help you.
That's right. Plus, like your mentor who you look up to, they had a mentor. You think of some of the most successful people that are a lot of people's role models. They had people who mentored them when they were just starting too. So it's okay.
I think sometimes, whether it's whatever we read on social media or in the news or just the nature of career building these days, I think a lot of times there's a myth of like the self-made person who just sort of achieved everything on their own. But there's no such thing. Everybody, the most famous, powerful people have multiple people who are helping them along the way. So it's important to ask for help.
That's so true.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So you have so many amazing projects going on. You've got, your book, you've got OpportuniMe, you've got this event series that you're hosting at Northeastern. How can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about all of the great work you're doing?
So I'm really active on social media, especially Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So I'm easily accessible on any of those platforms.
Awesome. So I'll put some links to your social media platforms in the show notes so that if people want to reach out to you, they can go and just directly link from there.
Of course.
And also, congratulations on your brand new book. It's available on Amazon, I understand, but you also have a special offer for our listeners today. So if you're listening and you want to get a signed copy of Miracle's new book, which is again called Purpose, How to Live and Lead with Impact, check out the show notes, and there are some special instructions there where you can get a signed copy. Thanks so much, Miracle, for sharing all of the great work that you're doing and just sharing your own personal story of how you are starting out your own career in entrepreneurship and solving problems and helping other people. As we close out, is there anything else that you'd like our listeners to know or anything else that they can help or support you with?
I just wanted to reiterate to feel free to reach out. There's been a lot of people who have mentored me and still continue to mentor me. So I'm happy to be a mentor or a resource to anybody, and feel free to reach out.
That's wonderful. Great. Well, thank you so much, Miracle, for being on my show.
Thank you for having me, Carolyn.
Thanks for listening to Beyond 6 Seconds. Please help us spread the word about this podcast. Share it with a friend. Give us a shout out on your social media or write a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast player. You can find all of our episodes on our website, www.beyond6seconds.com. Until next time.